Uranium friends, U.UN and SRUUF, let's have a look. Interesting day on Friday. I'm going to try to um, talk about the process on how I view this from a technical standpoint. Not necessarily predictions, not necessarily anything to that nature, just what I'm looking for from going forward. So you see, we've seen some people talk about this volume, right? And that can be looked at as capitulation volume, right? So, and interestingly enough, the price it broke to a new low, but it held. So, that's back of my mind type of stuff is what I do. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to this monthly chart because we need to see just really what we're dealing with. I'm going to go to U.UN first on its own. So, um, essentially, this is the big level, this purple line here, right? So it's 1897. So all for just lack of a better terminology, just say 19 bucks. And that it's a previous breakout from April of 2022, but it's also this level here from 2011, from February 2011. So it's an important level. Okay, you see some interactions here early on in the life of the fund in 2006. You see it acting as support here for a while in 2007 and 2008. 2011, it rejected, hard rejection. Okay, yeah, oh, Fukushima, yeah, whatever you guys want to talk about, the fundamentals, forget it. I don't care. All right, I'm talking about chart levels and what I'm trying to, someone might want to be positioning again in this, right? So it's just cycling back. And I've said this moment numerous times, even when it was up here and was coming down. And I kept saying in every video, I say, all this merely is looking like a back test of the breakout. And that's what this level is. So is this over? All right. So some people might make the inference because SRUUF had capitulation volume, possibly. We'll see as we dig deeper. I can't really tell you that I can say definitively that it's over, but it has my attention, right? Capitulation volume like that will have my attention. But just back to U.UN. So this monthly level, all right, we're still in a monthly chart. It's still just coming down. Now we have this other level, this 21 area, and I've had that delineated on the chart, representing a lot of action over here, right? So these three yellow lines are important, right? These four lines are important. The three yellow lines are important. This is the big line, this purple one for me, okay? They're just lines. They're just representing price action. So we're coming back into, look, we tested this line. We got the bounce, failed to get over. It became resistance, right? We tested this line, got the bounce, failed to get over. Okay, it's acting as resistance now. That's the spot, right? And I said this level here, I didn't want to lose this level. This was a breakdown level, right? Um, it was just too much support here to say that if we lose it, it's just going to be bad, and it is. It still is. It's still bad. It's still going down. All this is a monthly downtrend continuing with follow through. That's what we're looking at. So when these things happen, I look at levels. Okay, so I've got my Fibonacci's taken from this last big pivot to this top, right? So we're coming into an important level at the golden zone, the Fibonacci retracements, and this 50 EMA on the monthly. So this area is having my attention, right? So just to go back to my positioning, I was positioned in SRUUF in February of 2021. I caught all of this run. I did some trims here, I did some ads here, and I cut half my position up in here. I decided that this other half of my position will be gone, stopped out if we lose this level. I stopped out. I do not have any physical SPUT shares anymore at the moment. So I'm looking for that to change. I'm looking to get that next wave again. So we'll see. So that's the deal. These are the major levels. So we've tested one, we lost it. We tested another one, we lost it. Now we're testing another one. All right. So we have one more line in the sand here, which is the big, big, big one. And we'll have to see if it even gets down there, what happens. All right. So that is U.UN. It's important if you're playing SRUUF to look at U.UN because there's much more price action, price history here. This is the mother exchange, but there are differences. It's almost as if the United States players are actually coming in more as buyers here. So, and it seemed that way for a while now. Okay, so it's still on this monthly. The big level was lost. It's a little bit different of a level than U.UN. So I think I got out somewhere around here, right? So the back test didn't make it, but regardless of that, so I'm empty, and I have no problem reloading. So, but if you look at SRUUF, it is now back testing its breakout level. Right, this is an actual true back test. U.UN has not done that. So, when I look at stuff like this, I say, all right, well, does U.UN need to come down and test that breakout level first before the bounce occurs? That remains to be seen, right? So, there's a good volume node holding us up here. So, if this level doesn't hold, I'm expecting it to come down into here. And then I want to see what happens there. Again, this will still be the golden pocket, the 60.618 retracement of this move. So it wouldn't be surprising. We're starting to lose the 50% retracement now with follow through. Kind of indicates to me that there's a possibility that it comes down here. Now, I'm not predicting that. All right. Technical analysis is not about predicting. If you have a technical analyst and you're listening to the technical analyst and they're predicting something, they're not truly technical analysts, in my opinion. Um, you cannot predict with technical analysis. You can only speak towards levels, probabilities, targets, and risk management. So you will not get predictions out of me. In my opinion, though, if this area breaks, there's a good chance that it comes down into this area. There's a lot of things pointing to it, right? Big level here as resistance and the Fibonacci golden pocket retracement, right? So that's how I'm looking at SRUUF. Let us come into the daily here and come into SRUUF because as you can see, it's different. The volume is very different here than it is here. So, do we know at the moment what it is? We don't, right? So could it have been a fund blowing up or just deciding to get out of their position? It's possible, right? So, if I'm sitting in a position and I'm holding it, I'm holding it, I'm holding it, I'm not selling it here. I'm waiting for a daily oversold bounce at the very least. We got the daily oversold bounce, right? So I would rather unload here than down here, even though my entry might have been all the way up here, right? So that's just some sort of risk mitigation stuff, all right? So the daily oversold bounce played out a little bit, continued to make new lows, but it's starting to lack follow through. So even with this giant amount of volume, you're not getting that price level break with follow through. So it's interesting to see. Now, does that mean that it won't follow through? It doesn't mean that at all. But if you look at these other high volume um, capitulation days, this one had some follow through. This one did not, right? So it all depends on what action now starts to occur after the fact, right? So, and some sort of investigative UTWIT guy might figure out who did this if it's real. It looks pretty real to me. It looks like it was something that just got cut off on the open right here, right? So somebody had to stop. It got picked off, and there's your volume. It's opening volume on the day. Um, so that's what I'm looking at. I'm looking at it in that lens, okay? And when I come down into the weekly, there's forgetting about all of this. We've already talked about this volume. There's not a lot of support on the way here. So this is just, in a technical analyst term. Sorry about the throat clearing. In technical analyst terms, when you get these big sharp moves, they don't give a chance to consolidate and create levels of support. So it's easy to see that it can drop right through. And that I'm saying this even without looking, even if there was no volume profile here, you could see that, right? And we could start to see the next level over here that's going to be a level of importance, and it's lining up with this volume profile. So we don't know if this capitulation volume is it. And there's nothing to tell you that it is until we wait to see what the reactions are in the following days or weeks, right? So hoping that it is, right? And there's some signs pointing to it, but we're in a precarious spot. Um, Price level wise, you have a little bit of consolidation right here, right? That's acting as support, right? So this level is something. So we need to see what occurs with it to really understand whether this was capitulation volume or not. Now, the other thing is that you don't see it on U.UN. You don't see that type of volume on U.UN. We saw it in January. We saw that type of volume. Let me see if I can just get this out of the way so you can see it, right? So there it is. You have this pretty decent amount of volume, but that's not overly unusual for this name because you see it plenty of times. SRUUF, this is record-breaking volume on the name. All right. You had it here, but it was not even close. I mean, it's a lot more volume. So this is a big, somebody dumped a lot of it, right? So you could start to say, okay, now I'm looking to see, capitulation is nothing unless there's a reversal, right? So there's no reversal in sight. Are we at historical levels? We are. Okay, for the RSI. I mean, the name tells you it bounces here on this RSI. So one little factor in our favors. There's a little bit of a level here to hold. There's capitulation volume that didn't send it further down. Right. So that's, as a technical analyst, that's what I'm looking at. So going forward, I am looking to see if there's a reversal in the works. Nothing is telling me that there is. And so I'm just staying with the fact that it's a continued monthly downtrend that is continuing to follow through. There's plenty of room for it to still go down. The weekly is probably going to tell me the same thing. Yeah, it's just weekly downtrend continuing to follow through and in an important level where there is no support until another $2 down. That's the way I'm viewing it. You can sit there and say whatever you want. There's going to be technical, quote unquote, technical analysts go, it's capitulation volume, blah, blah. It's not until it is, right? So, you know that I'm someone that wants the charts and the price action to prove it. The guys that are saying this is a wave or the next move is up is going to, higher, whatever they say, they say. All right. I'm just looking for the turn. And there's no sign of the turn whatsoever, even if you look at the 4-hour chart, right? So this is doing enough. These bounces, these relief bounces are just enough to keep the RSI cool so it can continue to make new legs. That's all it is, right? So you need somewhere, we need the bulls to prove it at some point. And the only ones that are proving it for the past year are the bears in this particular fund. It's just that simple. Equities are not helping at all. See where it goes from here. Watch to see if this truly was capitulation volume. Over and out.